Welcome to another episode of the Headlight Restoration Pro. In this episode, you'll be viewing me undoing what a Walmart tweaker headlight restoration did to these headlights. You heard it right. This lady got a Walmart tweaker headlight restoration by an official Walmart headlight tweaker. Stay tuned to hear the story and see how I got them to come back to this.
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind.
Let's get down to business. Okay, you're viewing these headlights here. This is less than 24 hours after this customer wanted to go the cheap route, which is understandable. These days, it does not hurt to save a buck or cut a corner, but if you cut them too sharp, you end up with shit like this. You cannot expect, I don't know, some people expect things to come out correct when they want to pay $60 for something that, you know, costs a lot more than $60. They want to pay $60 for a $600 thing, or, you know, they have, like this lady has a, you know, $25,000 car used and wanted to get pretty much something for free. And that's, you know, that's not right. That's human nature. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. It's human nature. We all want stuff for cheap and we all want stuff for free. But it comes to a cutoff point where you get shit like this. You know, this person, you know, was on the way shopping at Walmart of all places. And I usually ask the people, and, you know, I have a little questionnaire or a little, you know, thing that I go through my mind. Have you had these headlights done before? And what, you know, what happened to this? But this customer willingly divulged the information to me. Said, oh my God, I need you to come out today, you know, yesterday afternoon. And this is about roughly about 8:30 in the morning. She's like, yesterday afternoon, or excuse me,
yesterday midday, around about 3 o'clock, I had this guy do my headlights out front of Walmart, and, you know, I went shopping to do it, and, you know, I told him I'd be in there for about 30 minutes, and he said he'll need about 20 minutes to do it, and I came out, and he was still doing it, and he was trying to fix them or whatever, but they came out all messed up, and I told him, what did you do to my headlights? I thought you knew how to do this, and this and that, and he still wanted to get paid.
Initially, he said he was going to charge her $80, but then, you know, she bargained him down. It was like, I don't even want to pay you anything because these are terrible. They're worse than they look. She said that they were a little bit wider, but he got a little bit of the white out. But here's the thing, I think he did. See that fog around that area? I think he just polished the headlights, okay? Like, you know, like headlight polishers or whatever, like in this video here that I speak about those headlight polishers. I think he polished it, and then he sealed it with some kind of a 2K clear, and not a good job. And another thing with that 2K clear, you can't just spray over stuff like we do with headlight products. You have to prep it certain ways. You have to do a different type method. You can't just, you know, spray it over something that's freshly polished or not polished correctly. This is why, a lot of the reason why 2K clearers won't do this. But I don't know what was going on, but apparently I think this is what happened. But anyways, she was really upset, and she was like, you know, I don't want to pay you nothing. And then he started giving her, you know, a sad, down on the luck story, this and that. And, you know, when she's telling me this, I'm just thinking the guy just wants to go get high. He wants to go take a hit. You know, ain't no fucking sad story. You know, your kids and family left you a long time ago. You're out here hustling people at Walmart for a quick buck and hoping that you can make it look right, so when they pull off the next day, it looks messed up or fucked up. So, initially, it was about $80, she said, and she gave him $50 because she felt sorry, right? So, you know, then she called me and has to pay a little bit extra because I have to remove all this stuff before I can even get started with my magic. So it's an upcharge. So she ends up screwing herself you know, worse. If you try to, you know, milk blood from a stone, you know, milk from a dead cow, you're just gonna get fucked over, you know. You got to pay for what it is. You know, if you go to a place that says, oh, your oil change this vehicle is $120, and you go to another place that says we could do it for $20. Do you trust that place? Like, it just, come on, you gotta have some common sense about you. But like I said, different people's levels and knowledge about cars and whatnot are different. And this guy might have known how to do a little something, or, you know, maybe he's seen a video when he was sleeping outside or some shit like that. I have no fucking idea, but I was just kind of, I get kind of irritated with this just because people try to get stuff for so cheap, and it's crazy. And obviously she had my number, so she had the ability to you know, search or, you know, figure out who I was, whatever, and come and you know, get headlight restoration or whatnot, or have me come and do their headlight restoration. But it's so bizarre. I get people that have headlights that are $4,000 a piece, that have a 2000. I just had a guy who had a 2020 Audi A5, I think it was, a sports edition with adaptive lights. The lights were $4,000 a piece on sale, with like $1,200 off on each one, right? And he was sitting there trying to haggle, you know, about the price, which was probably a 10% of that, you know, if that, right? Of one light, right? Not even 10%, like 1% or something. It's just a drastic thing, and they were still trying to argue. And I just told them, look, I'm really not interested in it. This is how much your lights cost. I mean, if somebody's going to do it for that much for a regular light, I mean, go ahead and go for it. But I mean, we're not doing that here, and the liability of it is too high. But it just tickles me that you can buy a $50,000 car when you cannot afford $150, $180, $200 headlight restoration. You know, you cannot afford it, and you have just purchased a motherfucking $50,000 car. What kind of economical sense does that make? You know, it just people, a lot of people love to live above their means. I get it. It's ridiculous though. It's one of my pet peeves. Like, come on, man. You got this house, you got this car, and you just can't afford stuff. But you see how it's stringy and pulling up like that? This is a 2K clear, more than likely, about 98% sure. It just has not had any time to set. The thing with the 2K clears is when they set up, and it was probably a vehicle grade or a paint 2K clear, not like a Fast Max. This is the lighter version, okay? This one's not as bad as that. Like I said, there's different levels of 2K clears in different videos. You should never use any of them on headlights. Don't get me wrong, but these ones aren't as bad. If I had to use one on a headlight, it would be one of these ones that I'm removing. Either way, they take a longer time to actually cure and set up. Okay, they probably take like, man, maybe 24 to, I don't know, 72 hours to fully cure and set up. They're not like made for headlight products. Okay, so the quicker you get them off, the better it is. I had a couple guys in the DMs talking about, you know, what do I do now? I had it on and put it on there, and I just tell them, get it off as soon as you can, because the longer it sits on there, whether it's, you know, a couple days, if it's a couple weeks or a couple months, the quicker you get it off, the better it is. And you see how milky it is. You see how thick and dense it is. This is part of the reasons why, one of the reasons why it overheats lights. Okay, you know, it doesn't have anything to do with the hardness, why it overheats. It's the thickness and the insulating ability of the 2K clear, which overheats headlights. See how thick this stuff is? Now, I barely even just about got to on most points the actual headlight structure. All this white stuff you're seeing is the 2K clear, or the clear coat that the person used on here. But one thing I do admire is, you know, the person who did this was asking for money, he was trying to provide for himself or whatever he had going on, his habits, by providing a service. That's respectable, but at the same time, I believe he knew that he was full of shit when he was trying to do somebody's headlights. Being admirable, you know, doesn't make up for the fact that I know I don't know how to do this, and I'm trying to sell this to somebody, right? And I'm sure he must have had a, you know, good gift of mouth or whatever, because this lady was smart enough to contact me to have hers done, and she didn't seem to me as somebody being gullible. So she probably just, you know, fell for it and like, oh, a cool little $80, a cool little $70 or whatever, and I'll have it done by the time I walked out. But you know, you can't just let anybody work on your vehicles. You can't. And I try to explain to people that too in the DMs. They're trying to get their businesses going. They're trying to get their automotive services going and whatnot. And it's like, you know, if you walk up to somebody in a holy t-shirt and like, hey, let me do your headlights, 9 out of 10 people are going to be like, get the fuck away from me, jackass. Like, it'll never happen, right? But if you have your shit together, you have business cards, you have all these things, you have, you look good, you smell good, you're clean cut, you speak correctly, you knowledgeable about what you're speaking about, you can tell them these things. People pick up on those cues really fast, and the more you have, the more easy it is to elaborate the fact that you can do this to that person and you get that sell. This guy definitely had something going on, but I say Walmart tweaker because it's a notorious thing that people approach people at Walmart, whether it's like dent removal or headlight restoration or chip repair, whatever. It's a notorious hustle, and 9 times out of 10 these cats are full of shit. That's one reason, but one of the things she said is when she talked to him at first, he was, you know, kind of fast talking, and he was kind of okay, you know, looking or whatnot. Because I asked her, I was like, you didn't see any cue or whatever? I know, I mean, it's just a regular person, and she, you know, he said that he had tools in his truck, whatever. He was going to pull over, whatever, and do it, whatever. But she said she only saw him with one tool and like a can of something. And she said that when she came back out and confronted him about how bad they looked, and, you know, she made them worse, and he tried to explain he got the white out, but there's a little bit of dripping, but it's still okay, and like, you know, he needed the money or whatever. She said like he felt desperate or something like this, and I asked her, did it seem like he was on drugs, or he might have wanted some drugs or something? And she said, yeah, I think maybe so. So you just got to be, you know, mindful what you're doing out there, because I mean, a lot of people on drugs can, you know, perform a task, but most of them can't. You know, most of them want the drugs more, and, you know, they're not going to want, you know, a certain level of drugs, okay? And that's tweaker headlight restoration. What's going on here? This person here, a lot of the spots here that were white were still here underneath this light. Also, the compound or whatever he used was not fully removed, and there was a lot of residue underneath this spray that he sprayed on here. Okay, and you know, like he didn't physically wipe it off enough, you know, where there were still physically some on there, which is very interesting that, like, you know, you can't not wipe any off. You have to have, I mean, if you had a normal microfiber towel and you just wipe it off the way you'll see me coming up soon, you shouldn't have any residue no matter what you really used on there. But there was still residue of whatever compound you used on there on a certain white spots that you saw earlier. You really got to be careful out there. And I tell everybody that, like, you know, from time to time, I have people saying, oh my God, that much? It's just headlight restoration. And then I explain to them, well, yeah, you have $500 lights. That's $500 a piece plus. And it's going to take about $300 to have them installed after the people remove your headlights. It's going to be about 2.5 hours of labor through a mechanic. And you're going to have to take it there, and you're going to have to wait until they're finished and ready to do your headlights. So you're looking at a huge downtime while you're driving there and coming back and sitting there waiting for them to get to your vehicle. On top of that, you know, if you want the proper stuff, you know, it's going to be, you know, that much. So it ends up being $1,200, $1,300, whatever the case may be. And then they're like, okay, we'll call you back. And then they call back with like, hey, I have a guy over here saying he'll do it for $50. And then I have to explain to him, you might want to call him and ask about his process, because more than likely for that kind of time or that kind of money of doing a headlight restoration, he's extremely inexperienced. He doesn't probably know what he's doing. He's a you know, what they call a shade tree mechanic. Or he's going to polish your lights and send you on your way in 15 minutes. And then you're going to be mad in 2 months when you say they're worse than they ever were before. And then they end up calling that person back, asking their process, and they call me back and like, can you come through? And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Because, I mean, you know, people just don't understand the value of real headlight restoration. And in my opinion, I always tell them, like, you don't want to play with your life. You don't want to play with your life or your daughter's life or your grandma's life. So why are you shortchanging them? Okay, the prices are fair. You know, the prices are uniformed and fair. But people always want to save a buck. They want to get the cheapest, not the best. So I'm like, if you want the cheapest, I mean, I'm sure you can find it. But if you want the best, you've already found it because you're talking to me. This is why I go to, for my own vehicle, certain stuff. I got my brakes coming up, and I can go to Joe Schmo or go anywhere else and get it cheaper. But I know a guy who is the shit, and he'll come to you and do the brakes. He did my last brakes. And, you know, I'd rather have perfection on certain things because, you know, I might have to, I don't know, zombie apocalypse might, you know, riots or looting or some shit, and I'm in the wrong area or something, and I need to get further. I might get shot at or something by, you know, a headlight polisher or something. I might have to get further, so I need good brakes, right? It's a safety thing. You know, I might be driving 100 miles on the freeway, and then somebody cuts me off. I got to slam on my brakes, and then what happens? You wanted to save $50. You went to Shade Tree Mechanic, and now you're dead. Right? This is a safety measure. This is one of the most important safety features of night driving. It is the most important safety feature of night driving. Why? Because without it, people can't see you. Okay, so with this light, it's very coarse, with, you know, a little bit of fog here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the 3M product, the new 3M product. The Headlight Perfect, or excuse me, the Perfect It, you know, used for headlights. It's water based. You know, this one here, I'm still doing testing and stuff on this one here, but I am going to use this on here because it's very coarse in the fog, which just means very coarse with the damage. Not so much heavy scratching, but like very fine. So we're going to see what this can do with it. And like I said, these next couple of episodes here are just going to be going back and forth with different polishers and things that I approve for use. Okay, that got my stamp of approval. This is one of them, just because it clears up your headlights almost in a different way. It's like extremely, it's one of the best cutters I've ever seen, and I'm real eager to try to use it on paint real soon. You know, because on the headlights it works. It's an actual compound, so it can be used on paint as well or whatever. It's not specifically designed per se for headlights, although 3M is replacing their headlight stuff with this. They recommend this to be used on headlights and this and that, and because they're getting rid of their other 3M headlight cleaner. This stuff really cuts crazy, as you're going to see here in a second. And I do just want to showcase this here, so you can see. I had a couple questions on the last couple videos, people asking, well, if that one is for headlights and you know, you said it's incomplete, can you still use it? It's like, yes, it's incomplete in my opinion, and well, in general as well. It needs a little bit more oil. The best thing for headlight is an oil-based headlight cleaner and polish, okay? But at the same time, this one is performing at that level as the best headlight, but it's water-based because the cutting in it is so efficient. The granulates or whatever they put in here really do something special without the oil. Okay, so it is on the level. Initially, I plan on mixing some of these things together in experimentation. This was one of them. But as you see, I'm showcasing on this one that it can be used as a standalone. I think in the long run, for headlight health, you do need a bit of lubricant underneath that sealant, which adds hydration to the polycarbonate cells, or those pockets in the polycarbonate. Because polycarbonate, the plastic that headlights are made out of, is called polycarbonate, okay? We all know that here, most of us. It is pretty much predominantly, or 100% or whatever, it is predominantly a oil-based substance. Okay, it's made up from oils and compounds of that sort. Okay. So it's inherently oily, and what happens through degradation of the sun or any type of degradation, the oils are stripped from that surface. Also, from sanding down, the oils are stripped from that surface. So what happens with Headlight Health, when people leave it to dry and they're not using that oil base that replaces that clarity, that replaces that hydration, it ends up making the headlights not as clear, and or making them not last as long with no debilitating health issues. Debilitating health issues in Headlight Health is like, the headlight is healthy in 2-4 years after this headlight restoration, right? It doesn't have cracking, it doesn't have hazing, it doesn't have permanent color staining, it doesn't have pitting from impact, it doesn't have these things, or the less of it, or the lack of it. Okay, that is what I mean when I say Headlight Health. You can put some stuff on your headlight right here, some 2K clear, and it'll be beautiful, right? Just, almost just as good looking as this. But in 2 years, you're going to have signs of so many, permanent damages that will never be removed from a headlight, not from any headlight restoration. There's going to be cracks, there's going to be pittings, there's going to be warping in certain areas, there's going to be overheating in certain areas, which lead to even a different type of cracking and spider cracking. There's going to be discoloring, there's going to be all kind of stuff going on. That's what I mean by Headlight Health. But check this out. See how clear that stuff is? It's pretty damn clear. It does meet the cut. And I'm starting to think about using this product primarily on lights that have a higher level of damage still left over after the 300 stage, to get that extra cut in on. There's a couple different ways to mix things, and I'll be showing you how that goes in the future, where you can do it by different stages and levels of polishing, or you could just mix the whole shit together. Okay, which one is a little more complicated than the other, because you have to have the right ratios. You got to know what you're looking for. Kind of as I mentioned on the last video here, this one, you got to know what you're doing. All right. But this is one of the parts that the Walmart tweaker messed up on here. He didn't make sure his light was extremely squeaky clean and, free of any kind of debris or free of any kind of residue. Okay, the other part here is he oversprayed in certain areas. The biggest part where you saw around this area here and over here, there were just drip marks. He oversprayed too much. And the thing with the 2K clears or whatever, they don't dry not even 1/1000th of the speed of this shit. I'm talking like some of them take, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes or longer. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, right? Depends on which one you got. But I can't see one of them drying any faster than about 7 minutes. This product dries in the heat that I just did it in here. It's in the morning. It's probably about 63, 65 degrees. And 65 degrees, it dries in about 60 seconds. No shit. 60 seconds, the crust forms on it. And then through and through, it dries in about, 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, and then it cures in about 16 hours, fully cures. So, this is a real fast drying product, and that's what you want. The faster, the better when you're working with headlights. This is not painting a vehicle. This is not, painting a house. This is headlights, okay? There's a lot of things that can go wrong with headlights. If you had some dust falling your paint when you're painting a car, you probably wouldn't even notice it. But if you had it on a headlight, you would notice it right away.
To subscribe and watch this video I made for real life application, not YouTube.
Nowadays, everybody's trying to save a quick buck. Nothing wrong with that. Times are different. But don't cheat yourself and end up like this customer in the Walmart parking lot being explained to by somebody who said they could do headlight restoration to them while they shop, and why they wanted $50 for this inferior, terrible job. Well, you could have took that money and spent it on a real headlight restoration from a real trained, certified professional with over 95 star solid Google review ratings on Google. We definitely got you covered. Call us, text us, we'll come to you. Don't cheat yourself, treat yourself.
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there.